smart fans. Ed, the Tech Simple Texan here, bringing you tips on how technology can help reduce the friction in your life. This might make me a bit of a geek, but I'm excited about a solution I came up with to turn on my PC with Alexa, and I thought I would share it with you. First, a little background. As part of a project to upgrade my home office to increase productivity and make it a bit more ergonomic, I built a desktop PC. But even with an NVMe SSD drive, it still seems to take a bit too long for my PC to boot and log in from power off. This led me to scour the web to find a way to have Alexa, that pretty much controls almost everything else in my home, turn on my PC. I did find several interesting ideas though. The most prevalent was to use If This Then That to activate Wake on LAN. I use If This Then That all the time for integrations, but in my opinion, this option doesn't really count because it's not actually turning my PC on, it's just waking it up from sleep mode. I also found a very creative programmer with a solution he uses, but it requires new hardware connected to the on-off switch, a continuously running server, and 2 different software programs that he wrote. Like I said, very creative, but it seems a bit overkill just to turn on my desktop. I even found a tiny robot that can push buttons and is Alexa enabled if you buy it with a hub. Actually, it is pretty cool, and I'll probably get one just because. But my solution is much easier and requires no incremental hardware. So without further ado, let me show you my solution in action. I have an Amazon Echo on my desk, and I've changed my wake word for a number of reasons I won't get into here. As you can see, the power is off to my PC. Computer, turn on my PC. As you can see, the power is restored to the PC and it begins the boot process. And there you have it. Alexa can turn on and off my PC. So, how'd I do it? I've mounted a power strip under my desk, which I've plugged my PC and monitors into. The power strip is plugged into a smart Alexa enabled outlet, but it would work just as well with a smart plug. I used an outlet because I have my PC sound system plugged into the other socket so that I can turn it on and off separately. While turning on a smart outlet or plug will turn on most devices, it only turns the power on to the PC power supply. It doesn't actually turn the PC on. The reason is the type of switch used in a PC. It's called a momentary switch. I won't get into the technical details, but what actually happens when you push the power button on your PC is determined by a microcontroller. This is why the solution was not as obvious as it would be with other devices that can be controlled by Alexa, like a lamp, for example. Anyway, back to the solution. As I said, I built a new desktop for my home office, and while I was exploring all of the BIOS settings to optimize my motherboard, I found this simple solution. What actually enables Alexa to turn on and boot up my PC is a setting in the BIOS that tells the PC what action to take after a power loss. In my BIOS, there are 3 options. There's power off, which is the default, last state, and power on. Since my PC is plugged into a smart outlet, turning off that outlet is interpreted by the PC the same as a power loss, so that when Alexa turns on the outlet, not only is the power restored to the PC turns on and begins the boot process. And that's really all there is to it. A couple of mods in my BIOS and some naming in the Alexa app, And now I can ask Alexa to turn on my PC while I'm walking up the stairs, and it's booted and ready to go by the time I sit down. Do I really need that? But to be honest, it is pretty cool. Some final notes. I put together a couple of additional videos to show you exactly what settings I changed in my BIOS and how I set up my Alexa to control my office the way I want to. Check those out if you're interested in more details. I hope you found this helpful, and I would greatly appreciate it if you would hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and remember, a smart home leads to smarter living.